Hello everybody and welcome. I'm your host Captain Awesomeness, and as you can see, I am back at Boss Pro Karting. And why am I here? Because, well, first of all, I have a bit of a gap in between the races at OVKA, you know, with G&J Cartway and all that stuff, and I don't know why they haven't juiced me up yet. Anyway, so I figured, you know what, I have a bit of a gap, so why not see what it's like to get on an electric go-kart and see if it feels any different getting on this thing compared to, you know, the good old racing gas go-karts. So already from the outset, I can tell you it's very different. First and foremost, because it is an electric kart, you get instant power available like that. You don't have that luxury in the gas karts where, you know, the RPMs go down and you got to build it back up. So definitely from an acceleration point of view, there's a big difference. Now this is a rental go-kart, so because of that, this kart is way heavier than the you know, gas go-karts, the competition types, because of the fact that it doesn't have an all-around bumper, and these things do. So that makes for a little bit of a different maneuverability situation, and I have to accommodate accordingly. Also, not to mention the way it feels around corners, completely different. I don't know what else to say other than to relate how it feels to be on it. I just realized another thing, that I can't really brake and hit the gas pedal at the same time, which I forgot. Rental go-karts, they don't allow you to do that. You have to have your foot on one or the other. You can't have it on both and expect the kart to act in a certain way. I was trying to trail brake and still have my foot on the gas pedal, that kind of thing. So, yep, that's one thing. The other is that steering is definitely a lot different. It's the same concept, obviously, but it's a lot heavier since the kart is heavier. So have to give it a little bit more input than what I would like to, you know, put into a kart where you're putting in minimal input and you're getting a lot more rotation. So this requires a little bit extra help. All right, so what I can tell you from the outset, yeah, definitely feels different. Seat fitment is also another thing. I gotta kind of remind myself that this is not a racing go-kart, because what I've done is I actually pushed the seat forward. I'm basically trying to get my what's the word I'm trying to find here, the center of gravity just a little bit forward, since the back end is so heavy. So I'm trying to make it a little bit more on the even side of things. At least that's how I am perceiving this to be the case, especially when I go from all the way back to all the way forward. So there's that part. But yeah, otherwise, you know what, guys, I am doing great. I gotta tell you, it's been a fun time over there at G&J racing for vets, you know, in that OVKA race series. So really awesome time. Have no complaints whatsoever. Yeah, there is definitely one issue for me, and it's that these gas prices are making it a little bit difficult to sometimes justify the travel. But I have to remind myself, this is not my own kart. I don't have to put up the cost for, you know, the upkeep, maintenance, all that. So it's not so bad. The you know, you give one, you take one, that kind of thing. And I'm very happy with how things are going. So no complaints on that regard at all whatsoever, zero. So we're at 19,465, which is I don't know, I'm just trying to find the right braking points. Unable to find it just yet. It's so much different trying to get this kart to rotate, and I've forgotten a lot of stuff, but the basic concepts are the same, right? Trying to go around the turns as quickly as possible, not losing too much speed to the drift aspect, and ultimately making sure I go around this track in the least amount of distance as possible. I am wearing gloves, but these gloves aren't mine. These are old gloves that this track used to give out, and I just don't want to race without any gloves at all. Reason is simple. You know, it gets real difficult, and you can start to have blisters in your hands if you're not careful with the way you rotate a steering wheel, especially if it's being a little difficult to work with anyways. And this one is. I mean, every time I rotate the steering wheel, I can feel my triceps fighting to keep the steering where it needs to be. It's not that much of a challenge on the other way. 19,448, so we've only taken a few hundredths off, which again, for a first session, not so bad. I'm not complaining. Oh, didn't rotate enough. Almost hit the wall there. Yep, so coming back though, I will say, yeah, I've definitely I'm feeling rusty. I think that's the best way to put it, regarding how to navigate through this track. And I think it shows in the form of the lap times I am getting, 19,448 still. And I do have a total of 5 sessions, and we'll see how I do at the end of the visit here today at Boss Pro Karting. Boss Pro Karting, by the way, is my favorite place to go to, just on account of how awesome the staff here is, and of course Sodi carts. On the rental side of things, their carts are the only ones that I will actually go for. Now this one is broken up a little bit, it seems like. Fender up front, or yeah, the bumper up front is just kind of hanging there. But yeah, I also know how people drive here, and on a non-rental kind of race series that I'm on, don't have to deal with that. But anywho, quick video it looks like, but I will definitely give you guys some update when I get back home, so see ya.
Alright, real quick, I wanted to show you guys this little snippet of a race I did afterwards. The guy in number 3 is NoahTRacing, and the guy in number 5 is Jekyll. So both of these guys are pretty capable racers over here at Boss Pro Karting, and as a matter of fact, one of the things I need to mention is that, as you can tell here, I am actually racing with people at Boss Pro Karting. For the most part, you guys see that I race solo, and that's because I refuse to race with anyone unless they do know what they're doing, and luckily I got to race with these two very capable gentlemen. The real quick summary of this race is that Noah stayed in front of me the entire race. He is a pretty capable driver. I think he's about 15 years old, if I remember correctly what his mom was telling me as I talked to her afterwards. And the good thing about this young man is that he came up to me and he basically told me that he felt inspired by my videos of myself uploading, you know, all of my sessions at Boss Pro Karting, and just, you know, being in the go-karting world, and that was inspirational to him, and that was pretty heartwarming to me. Not to mention, of course, the fact is that this kid is very, very capable, and we kind of talked about encouraging him, his mom and I, to race in real go-kart racing whenever that opportunity arises. A real nice kid, but I just wanted to give you guys a real quick kind of sort of summary of how awesome my session went down here with him, and of course with Jekyll. So let's get to the conclusion part. By the way, before I start, I like the way the sun's kind of hitting on my face and, you know, giving me a different perspective of how I look. Yeah, kind of like it the way I'm looking at my screen. Pretty nice. Anyway, so how did my session go overall? It went pretty good, I think. I really enjoyed the fact that I got to race with people that know what they're doing. It makes for a much greater experience than just going solo over at Boss Pro Karting. And with that in mind, I got to tell you guys that I did pretty all right, I feel. For right now, in the top 10, I'm at number 3, and this is now the 14th of July, so I've got 2 more weeks before I really see where I place overall for the month. I came in at 19.135, and that is about 0.3 of a second behind NoahTRacing, who I just talked about. Real nice young guy, as well as Jekyll, who was about 1/10 of a second ahead of me. So definitely great people to race with, and I'd love to race with them and the many other people that do show up, but only show up for certain events. So in any case, what I will tell you also, guys, is that I'm not going to race again at Boss Pro Karting until the end of the real go-karting season, and that's because one thing I did learn real quick was that I had to get the kart to behave a little differently on an indoor concrete track, and it's not going to serve me well. So I'm going to abstain from going to any more electric or indoor karting facilities. It's just not going to work for me at all. So with that in mind, I do have another race coming up. It is an evening race, so it'll be at night. I do not know what the video recording will look like, but obviously it'll be a lot of fun. So down at G&J Kartway in Camden, Ohio, racing on behalf of Racing for Vets. I'm looking forward to a great weekend. It is going to happen on Saturday, which is July 16, and again, it's going to be at night. And just like before, I'm going to upload real quick just the race itself, and then later on a whole video kind of going over a documentary type thing. And another thing to know, guys, I am actually going to be racing by myself, representing Racing for Vets. Unfortunately, due to circumstances that cannot be avoided, my team captain and my teammate will not be able to show up, so I'm going to have to run the whole thing solo. So kind of excited and at the same time a little nervous, since I'll have to take the lead. I'll have to figure everything out on my own. So one way or the other, you know what? It is a challenge, and I will take it, and I look forward to it. And I hope you guys as well are pretty excited about our next race again, which is an evening race. Is going to be on the configuration 2C, which is one of their largest configurations. So a lot of things I'll have to work on, and a lot of things I'll have to think of as and when the day goes on, and we're trying to prep and do the practice and qualifications, all that stuff. Anyway, guys, that is all I have for you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you at the next Apex. Bye bye. Never break, always fight.